Hi everyone. Welcome to English Story School, where captivating stories meet engaging lessons to help you learn English effortlessly and with joy. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Not just in the fleeting moments of frustration or exhaustion, but in the quiet spaces where your mind craves clarity. Why do we follow routines, chase deadlines, or measure our lives by the expectations of others? What if there was a deeper meaning, something that transformed the mundane into the extraordinary? Today, we explore the essence of living with purpose, a life guided by meaning, not momentum. Let me share the story of Maya. She was a young professional in her late 20s who, by all accounts, had it all. A promising career, a cozy apartment, and weekends filled with friends. Yet, there was a heaviness she couldn't shake, a void that no amount of Netflix binges or shopping trips could fill. Every morning, as her alarm buzzed, she felt trapped in a cycle that lacked color or meaning. One ordinary evening, after another long day of work that felt more draining than fulfilling, Maya found herself on her couch, scrolling through social media. It was her usual routine, a numbing escape from the monotony of her life. The constant stream of posts, pictures, and updates blurred together. Friends sharing snapshots of vacations, influencers pushing their curated lifestyles, and endless advertisements promising happiness in the form of products. It all felt so hollow. As her thumb continued its automated movement across the screen, a simple quote appeared. The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. At first, it was just another post in the endless stream, but something about those words made her pause. She read them again, and then a third time. The phrase gripped her. It felt different, like an echo of something she had always needed to hear, but never knew how to articulate. The words weren't just inspirational fluff. They felt like a riddle she was meant to solve. What was her gift? The question buzzed in her mind. She tried to brush it off, but the idea lingered, demanding her attention. Had she ever truly stopped to consider what she was meant to give to the world? Was she living her life in alignment with her unique talents? Or had she been swept away by the current of expectations? That night, as she lay in bed, Maya's thoughts refused to quiet. Her mind began to wander through her memories, searching for moments of joy and fulfillment. It wasn't the corporate milestones or the fleeting material successes that stood out. Instead, a vivid memory from her college days surfaced. Afternoons spent volunteering at a community center. She could see herself again, surrounded by children, their faces lit up with excitement as they dipped paintbrushes into vibrant colors. She wasn't just teaching them to paint. She was sharing her passion, encouraging them to create without fear, and witnessing their joy as they expressed themselves on blank canvases. Maya remembered the way her heart swelled with pride when a shy little girl held up her painting and whispered, "Do you like it?" The connection in that moment was pure, real, and deeply satisfying. It wasn't just about the act of painting. It was about sharing joy, fostering creativity, and making a difference in the lives of others. Lying in the darkness of her room, Maya realized she hadn't felt that kind of fulfillment in years. She had buried her love for art under the weight of deadlines and responsibilities. The memory wasn't just nostalgic, it was a revelation. Teaching those kids to paint had been more than a volunteer activity. It was a glimpse into her true purpose. The quote resonated even deeper now. Finding your gift. Maya's gift was art. But the second part of the quote stirred her even more, giving it away. It wasn't enough to simply enjoy painting in isolation. Her purpose wasn't confined to a canvas in her living room. It was about sharing her passion, sparking creativity in others, and using her talent to spread joy. This realization was both empowering and unsettling. Empowering because she finally understood what had been missing in her life. Unsettling because it meant she might have to change her path to live in alignment with this newfound purpose. That night marked the beginning of a profound transformation for Maya, one that would guide her from a life of routine to a life of intentionality. The quote had done more than inspire her. It had awakened her. And Maya, for the first time in years, felt the flicker of hope that maybe, just maybe, her life could be something more. Maya sat by her window one quiet morning, gazing out at the world beyond, a world that had always seemed to pass her by. The bustling city streets below were alive with people rushing to their jobs, errands, and responsibilities. For years, Maya had been one of them, swept up in the ceaseless current of life, chasing goals that she thought would bring her happiness. But now something had shifted. She had started to question the very foundation of her life. What was she really working for? A paycheck? A promotion? A fleeting sense of accomplishment? As she reflected, a thought struck her with the clarity of a bell ringing in the silence. Her purpose wasn't defined by her job title or the numbers on her bank statement. This wasn't a conclusion she had arrived at overnight. It had been a gradual realization, a mosaic of moments that had started to come together. She thought back to the countless times she had equated her self-worth with her professional success. The long hours, the deadlines, the promotions. They had given her temporary satisfaction, but they always left her feeling empty, as though she was climbing a ladder leaning against the wrong wall. Now, sitting in the stillness of her apartment, Maya recognized the truth. Her purpose was rooted not in what she could achieve for herself, but in what she could give to others. It wasn't about earning more or accumulating accolades. It was about how she could channel her passion, her love for art, her joy in teaching, to bring light into the lives of those around her. This epiphany didn't act as some magical switch that instantly transformed her life. It was more like a seed, quietly planting itself in the soil of her thoughts. At first, it was small and fragile, easily overshadowed by doubt and fear. Could she really live a life driven by purpose? What if she failed? What would people think? These questions loomed large, but the seed remained, growing little by little as she began to nurture it daily. Maya started with small changes. Each morning, she dedicated a few minutes to sketching in her journal. Not for anyone else, not for perfection, but simply for the joy of creating. It reminded her of the freedom she felt as a child, when art was a playground rather than a performance. She also began to reach out to the people in her life in more meaningful ways. Instead of just asking her friends how their day was, she listened deeply, trying to bring encouragement and positivity to their conversations. She volunteered at a local community center on weekends, offering free painting lessons to children. At first, it was daunting. She worried that she wasn't skilled enough or that her efforts wouldn't be appreciated. But the smiles on the kids' faces and their excited chatter as they dipped their brushes into bright colors melted her fears away. It wasn't just about teaching them how to paint. It was about creating a space where they felt seen, valued, and inspired. With each small step, Maya began to feel a shift in her spirit. Her days were no longer defined by the grind of her corporate job, but by the moments of connection and creativity she was weaving into her routine. There was a newfound sense of fulfillment in her life. Not a loud, overwhelming joy, but a quiet, steady contentment that came from knowing she was making a difference. Maya's realization wasn't the end of her journey. It was the beginning. Purpose, she discovered, wasn't something you find and hold onto like a trophy. It was something you grow into, something you cultivate through intentional choices and daily actions. Each day, as she nurtured her seed of purpose, it took root deeper in her heart, branching out into every aspect of her life. Her life wasn't perfect, nor did she expect it to be. But for the first time in a long time, it felt meaningful. And as Maya looked out her window at the bustling city below, she no longer felt like just another face in the crowd. She felt alive, connected, and ready to embrace the journey ahead. What living with purpose truly means. Purpose often hides in plain sight, nestled within the moments that bring us joy and the skills that come to us effortlessly. It doesn't have to be tied to a grand vision or a public accolade. Often, it reveals itself in the smallest, most personal ways. So, ask yourself, what brings you joy? Think about those activities or moments that make time fly, leaving you energized rather than drained. Then ask, what comes naturally to you? Maybe it's the ability to listen with genuine empathy, the knack for solving puzzles, or the creative spark that turns ordinary moments into something extraordinary. Finally, consider, how can you use these to make someone else's life just a little bit brighter? Purpose isn't always loud or spotlighted. It can be quiet, subtle, and deeply personal. It might be found in the hobbies that energize you, the passions that light up your spirit, or the small, meaningful gestures that leave a lasting impact on others. Take, for instance, the story of Mr. Daniels, a retired teacher whose identity had long been tied to the classroom. After decades of shaping young minds, he suddenly found himself navigating a vast and unsettling void in retirement. The days stretched endlessly before him, blending into one another, leaving him with a nagging sense of insignificance. He wondered if the best parts of his life were already behind him. One afternoon, as he sat on his porch lost in thought, his neighbor approached him with a simple request. Could he tutor her son, who was struggling with math? Initially, Mr. Daniels hesitated. He hadn't taught in years and questioned whether he still had the energy or skills to make a difference. But something about the boy's earnest need and his mother's hopeful eyes stirred something deep within him. Tentatively, he agreed. What began as a single tutoring session quickly turned into a weekly routine. As Mr. Daniels dusted off his teaching materials and began working with the boy, he felt a familiar spark reignite. The joy of seeing a concept click, the pride in a student's progress, and the gratitude shining in a young face. It was as if he had rediscovered a part of himself that he didn't even realize was missing. Word spread throughout the neighborhood, and soon other parents began knocking on his door, asking if he could help their children too. What started as a quiet favor blossomed into a vibrant network of evening tutoring sessions. His living room became a hub of activity, filled with laughter, questions, and the satisfying sound of pencils scratching across paper. Mr. Daniels no longer felt adrift. His days had structure, his evenings had meaning, and his heart was full. Here's the remarkable part. Mr. Daniels didn't need to reinvent himself or search far and wide for his purpose. It had been there all along, rooted in his love for teaching and his natural ability to connect with students. What had changed was the stage. He no longer needed a formal classroom to make an impact. Instead, he found fulfillment in his own home, sharing his knowledge and lifting others up in the process. The lesson here is profound. Purpose doesn't demand perfection, nor does it require sweeping changes. Sometimes, it's as simple as saying yes to an opportunity that aligns with your talents and joys. It's about recognizing that even the smallest acts of kindness or the quietest contributions can ripple outward, touching lives in ways you might never fully see. By helping his neighbor's son, Mr. Daniels discovered not just how to occupy his time, but how to live with intention and meaning. He didn't need to chase after accolades or recognition. His reward came in the form of laughter, gratitude, and the renewed sense of belonging he had been craving. And so, as you think about your own life, remember that purpose often reveals itself in unexpected places. It might be in the hobby you've neglected, the skill you take for granted, or the kindness you offer without expecting anything in return. Purpose doesn't have to be monumental. It just has to matter to you and, in some way, to someone else. Sometimes, all it takes is one small step, one simple yes, to transform the ordinary into something extraordinary. Why purpose matters. Living with purpose is about much more than feeling good or ticking off life goals. It's about creating a guiding principle that anchors you, especially when life gets tough. Think of it as a compass, a steadying force that helps you navigate through storms, whether they're personal, professional, or existential. Purpose has the power to reshape how you see challenges. Instead of viewing setbacks as insurmountable failures, you begin to see them as stepping stones, opportunities to learn, grow, and move closer to what truly matters. Research even supports this transformative perspective. Studies show that people who have a clear sense of purpose tend to have better mental health. They report lower levels of stress, greater emotional resilience, and even a sense of optimism in the face of adversity. And it doesn't stop there. Living with purpose is linked to longer lifespans. When you have a reason to get out of bed in the morning, your body and mind respond in kind, fueling you with energy and focus. But this isn't just about longevity. It's about living fully with intention and depth. However, let's not romanticize the journey. Pursuing purpose isn't a magical, linear path to happiness. It's often messy, filled with uncertainty, and requires sacrifices that can feel daunting. For Maya, stepping into her newfound purpose was anything but smooth sailing. The decision to leave her corporate job, a stable source of income and societal validation, was met with raised eyebrows and critical questions. Friends and family couldn't understand why she would walk away from something so secure to chase an idea that seemed, to them, risky and impractical. And then there were the financial concerns. Transitioning from a corporate salary to starting an art program for children was not without its hurdles. There were sleepless nights spent worrying about bills, moments of self-doubt when enrollment numbers didn't meet expectations, and countless logistical challenges she hadn't anticipated. Maya questioned herself often. Was this the right decision? Could she really sustain this dream? But for every doubt, there was a moment that made it all worthwhile. Maya vividly remembered one particular evening during her art class. A little boy, shy and withdrawn, had struggled to express himself through words. Yet, through painting, he found his voice. His artwork was bold, vibrant, and full of emotion. When Maya complimented his work, his face lit up in a way that melted every worry she'd carried. It was in those moments, the laughter of children, the joy of seeing creativity come alive, the gratitude from parents, that Maya felt a deep, unshakable sense of fulfillment. She wasn't just teaching art. She was nurturing confidence, fostering self-expression, and building a community. Purpose isn't about crafting a life that's smooth and effortless. It's not a shortcut to happiness or a guarantee of success without struggle. Instead, purpose is a powerful call to lead a meaningful life, a life where your actions, values, and aspirations align to create something truly fulfilling. It's a commitment to pursue what matters most, even when the path forward feels uncertain or challenging. At its core, living with purpose requires courage. Stepping into the unknown is never easy. It's far simpler to stick with what's familiar, even if it leaves you unfulfilled. Purpose demands that you take risks, make bold choices, and face the possibility of failure. Think of it like standing at the edge of a cliff, knowing you have the tools to build a bridge, but unsure if you'll succeed. Taking that first step requires bravery, to trust in yourself, your vision, and your ability to figure things out as you go. But courage alone isn't enough. Purpose also demands persistence. Obstacles are inevitable, and there will be days when giving up feels tempting. The pursuit of purpose isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. It's about showing up day after day, putting in the work, and staying committed even when progress seems slow. Persistence means learning to navigate setbacks, not as roadblocks, but as stepping stones. Each challenge becomes an opportunity to learn, refine your approach, and strengthen your resolve. Then there's the need to embrace discomfort. Living with purpose often means stepping out of your comfort zone, where growth truly begins. Discomfort is not something to be avoided. It's something to be embraced. Why? Because it's in those moments of uncertainty, struggle, and even failure that you uncover your true potential. When you stretch beyond what feels safe, you tap into hidden reserves of strength and creativity. You begin to realize that your capacity for resilience is far greater than you ever imagined. Imagine a seed buried deep in the soil. To grow into a towering tree, it must push through layers of earth, breaking free from the darkness to reach the light. This process isn't easy, yet it's essential. Similarly, living with purpose requires you to push through challenges that may initially feel insurmountable. But each challenge shapes you, just as the soil shapes the roots of the tree, making you stronger and more grounded. The beauty of this process is that it leads to self-discovery. You uncover strengths you didn't know you had, qualities like determination, adaptability, and resilience. When faced with the unknown, you learn to pivot, to find new solutions, and to keep moving forward. Adaptability becomes your ally, helping you navigate a world that's constantly changing. And resilience becomes your foundation, a steadying force that allows you to bounce back from failures and emerge stronger each time. This journey is deeply transformative. Over time, you begin to see discomfort not as something to fear, but as a sign that you're growing. Each challenge you face becomes a badge of honor, a reminder of how far you've come. You start to understand that purpose isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about continuously striving to live in alignment with your values, even when the road gets tough. Living with purpose also redefines your relationship with success. Instead of measuring your life by external achievements, titles, wealth, or accolades, you begin to focus on the internal rewards, the joy of making a difference, the satisfaction of pursuing your passions, and the fulfillment of living authentically. These rewards make every struggle worthwhile because they're deeply rooted in meaning. In the end, purpose isn't just about the destination. It's about the journey. It's about who you become along the way. The person who dares to dream, who chooses to persevere, and who embraces growth, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. Living with purpose doesn't promise ease, but it offers something far greater, a life rich with meaning, fulfillment, and unshakable resilience. Think about the concept of growth itself. Trees don't grow tall and strong in calm weather. They are shaped by the winds that push against them, forcing their roots to dig deeper. Similarly, living with purpose requires you to confront your fears, adapt to new realities, and remain steadfast in the face of challenges. Maya's story serves as a profound reminder that purpose doesn't erase life's challenges. It redefines them. It shifts the narrative of struggle from being something to dread into something to embrace. Struggles become more than obstacles. They transform into stepping stones toward a meaningful life. Purpose doesn't shield you from hardships, but it gives them context, depth, and most importantly, meaning. At the heart of Maya's journey is a universal truth. Struggles are inevitable, but when they're tied to something you genuinely care about, your values, passions, and goals, they take on a new dimension. They're no longer just roadblocks. They're opportunities to grow, adapt, and recommit to what matters most. For Maya, stepping into her purpose meant leaving behind a secure job and venturing into uncharted territory. It wasn't easy. She faced doubts, criticism, and financial concerns. But each hurdle served as a moment to reflect on why she chose this path in the first place. Her struggles weren't just challenges. They were affirmations of her commitment to a life filled with meaning and impact. Let's unpack this further. Imagine two people climbing a steep mountain. One person is doing it because they were forced to, with no clear reason or motivation. The climb feels grueling, pointless, and unbearable. The other person, however, is climbing because they believe there's a breathtaking view waiting for them at the top, a view they've dreamed of seeing their entire life. For them, every step, no matter how difficult, is fueled by anticipation, determination, and purpose. The climb may be just as hard for both, but for the second person, the meaning behind their effort transforms the experience. Maya's story is the second scenario brought to life. By aligning her actions with her values, her love for creativity, her passion for teaching, and her desire to inspire, she gave her struggles a sense of direction. Each challenge became a reflection of her purpose rather than an aimless hardship. When we live without purpose, struggles often feel like obstacles in a maze with no exit. But when we live with purpose, struggles become the terrain of a meaningful journey. The twists and turns don't disappear, but the destination, a life filled with fulfillment and positive impact, makes every effort worthwhile. Maya also teaches us that struggles can be powerful reminders of why we started in the first place. There were days when she doubted herself, when criticism stung, or when finances felt tight. But in those moments, she looked back on the children whose lives were brighter because of her art program. She remembered the smiles, the laughter, and the spark of creativity she helped ignite. Those memories rekindled her passion, reminding her that her struggles were not in vain. They were the price of building something meaningful. This brings us to an important realization. Purpose doesn't make life easier, but it makes life better. It provides clarity and direction, helping you navigate even the toughest times. It transforms setbacks into lessons, failures into opportunities, and pain into growth. When you have a clear sense of purpose, you no longer see challenges as reasons to give up. Instead, they become part of the story you're writing, chapters that add depth and resilience to your journey. Living with purpose also has a ripple effect. As Maya poured her heart into her art program, she not only found fulfillment for herself, but also created a lasting impact on others. The children she taught discovered confidence, joy, and a love for creativity. Her purpose became a gift, one that enriched not only her life, but also the lives of those around her. This interconnectedness is one of the most beautiful aspects of purpose. It extends beyond you, creating waves of positivity and change. Ultimately, Maya's story invites us to reconsider our own struggles. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can ask, "What can this teach me, and how does it align with my purpose?" By reframing challenges as opportunities to reaffirm our values and passions, we begin to see them not as detours, but as essential parts of our journey. Purpose is the compass that keeps us steady during life's storms. It doesn't promise a smooth path, but it ensures that every step, no matter how difficult, is taking us closer to a life rich with meaning, fulfillment, and impact. Like Maya, we all have the ability to transform our struggles into stepping stones, using them to build a life that resonates with our truest selves. And when we do, The destination makes every twist, turn, and uphill climb worth it. So, ask yourself, what's worth enduring discomfort for? What would make you push past doubt and fear? Purpose isn't about avoiding hardship. It's about finding something so meaningful that it transforms every challenge into an opportunity to grow stronger, kinder, and more deeply connected to your true self. In those moments, you'll realize that the rewards, the joy, the connection, the sense of accomplishment aren't just the icing on the cake. They're the whole reason for the journey. Starting your journey, living with purpose doesn't mean having all the answers. It means asking the right questions and taking small, meaningful steps. Begin by reflecting on what brings you joy and alignment. Is there something you've always loved doing but sidelined? Is there a way to turn that passion into a gift for others? Remember, purpose isn't a destination. It's a continuous journey. Like Maya and Mr. Daniels, your purpose will evolve as you grow. The key is to remain open, intentional, and willing to take those first steps. Living with purpose transforms not only your life, but the lives of those around you. It's about creating a ripple effect, one action at a time. So, take a moment today to reflect, dream, and align your actions with your values. Because purpose isn't something you find, it's something you create. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.